Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today we are going over what, in my opinion, is the most busted ship in the game right now. That is the super ship, the French super ship, the Conde, the Supercruiser, Tier 11 Cruiser, whatever you want to call it. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. I was completely off about it when I first played her in the, I think on the test server. This thing is nuts. On there I said, yeah, she's very powerful, but I don't think she's leagues above other tier 10 cruisers. But after she's been released and after having faced these things in clan battles, yes, my opinion has changed. This thing is just outright busted. And speaking of clan battles, that's one easy way to tell if a ship is busted or a little bit too powerful, if it's popular and competitive. Like we talked about yesterday when we were talking about the Venezia, Petropavlovsk, things have been absolutely everywhere in competitive, in COTS, in clan battles, in ranked, so forth and so on. That's why they finally really brought the nerf hammer down on the Petropavlovsk. Conde, absolutely everywhere in clan battles right now. The limit on super ships is 2. Most teams that we're facing, they're not bringing, a Satsuma and a Hanover and like an Annapolis and a Conde. They're bringing 2 Condes. It's almost just required if you want to advance in clan battles. That's how busted this ship is. So what makes this ship busted? Well, we're going to go over her stats right now, and it'll be pretty evident by the end of it what makes her so busted. So going over her armor scheme, she has a 25mm bow, no icebreaker bow, 30mm upper plating. Her side plating is 30. You take that side plating, that torpedo protection off. You'll then see her actual armor belt, which is 130mm. Stern is 25mm as well. Stern deck is 25, mid deck is 30, and bow deck is 25 as well. Take away all of her armor, you'll see that her Citadel is just a little bit above the waterline. There's not a terrible amount of it exposed. She does have turtleback though. That 130mm section of armor does drop down and protect that Citadel. They actually aren't terribly hard ships, the Citadel, if you catch their broadside. And it is a French cruiser, so it does have, of course, the French cruiser armor scheme. And that in some ways makes it not as bad, but we're going to talk about what really pushes her survivability here in a minute. Speaking of that, with the build that I have on her, which here it is again, she has 68,500 hit points and a 19% torpedo damage reduction. Her guns, boy, these guns. She has 12 240mm guns. That's a lot of guns. That's, what? 2 Henris and then some worth of guns? No, that's not 2 Henris and then some. That's an Henri and a half worth of guns, pretty much. This thing has a really sweet set of guns. Now, 12 guns. 12 guns. At tier 10, we see a lot of 12-gun ships that have pretty long reload times. The Venezia 15-gun ship has a 20-plus second reload time. The Conde, with her 12 240mm guns, do keep in mind these are 240mm guns. These are some of the larger guns at high tier for cruisers. She has a 15-second reload time, and that's without the reload module, alright? That's with the Ranger module equipped. 15 seconds. That is not long at all. And then 180 in 28.5 seconds, again with the Ranger module equipped and with the Grease the Gears skill equipped. Her dispersion is 176 meters, and her range is 22.6 kilometers with the range mod. With the reload mod, you would have a 12 second reload and a range of 19.2 kilometers. So, yeah, just right there. With those stats, and with the AP and HE that this ship has, that right there would make this one of the best cruisers at tier 10 already if this was just a tier 10 cruiser. But then we have her alternative fire mode. The alternative fire mode, in concept, this is essentially activating the auto loader on the ship, which gives you a 1.5 second reload time for 2 bursts. Used to be 3, then they realized that's a little bit too much and they cranked that down to 2 bursts, which certainly helps. Now, after you do this burst fire, you do have a 50-second cooldown time on your reload, meaning that you're going to have a 50-second reload now, so that's the payoff. You get 2 very fast salvos, but then a 50-second period where your guns are reloading. More on that in a minute. So our HE does a maximum damage of 3,400, has a 25% chance of causing a fire on target. 25% with the build that I have on it, which, that's pretty nuts if you think about it. For a ship with 12 guns with a 15-second reload, that's a really good fire chance. And you can pin 40 millimeters of armor with the HE, which is quite a bit at tier 10. And the HE comes out the tubes at 845 meters a second. The AP does a maximum damage of 6,510, and it comes out the tubes at 845 meters a second as well. And it is, of course, the French AP, so it does hit quite hard. And, wow, these guns are pretty nuts, especially with the burst fire mode. Honestly, you could get rid of the burst fire mode, and this ship would be absolutely one of the best cruisers in the game. I would argue it's probably the best cruiser in the game at the moment because of just the burst fire, the AP, the HE, and what this allows you to do with that burst fire mode, as you probably see in the background footage you're watching, if a ship shows you broadside, you're going to chunk them for like 40, 50k maybe, if all your shells connect, and of course Citadels too. If you Citadel some poor ship when you got your burst fire mode going on, you're probably going to completely delete them off of the map unless it's a battleship. And with HE, that allows you to be just one of the best fire starters in the game. It's like with Reload Booster, when you see someone put out one fire, you hit the burst fire mode, and now you've got 24 shells going toward them with a 25% chance of causing a fire per shell. You're going to set them on fire 2 or 3 times, and they're probably going to lose, if they're at full health, probably, shoot, 2/3 of their ship's health in that time, by the time their damage count comes off a cooldown. Of course, depending upon what ship it is and what build they're running, of course. So yeah, that's already just a god set right there. Those guns with those shell stats and characteristics with burst fire. But there's more. There's so much more to this ship. Torpedoes. You get 2x4 of the 550mm Torpsies go for 9 kilometers to do a maximum damage of 14,833. They do travel at 60 knots, so they're on the slower-ish side. They're not quite the sea mines of something like the German DT split. So there's, still has torpedoes, because of course it has to have torpedoes on top of all that too. Not like, completely raking the side of a ship for 20 or 30k at close range is enough. You got to be able to shove some torpedoes in there and finish them off if that doesn't finish them off. AA, she has pretty decent AA. She has an AA rating of 81. She does have secondaries. I kind of glossed over those in the artillery section because they're not really meant for secondaries. They're really there for the dual-purpose AA. You get 16 127mm guns. AA goes out to 6 kilometers, which is pretty nice. And you do have your choice of DFAA or hydroacoustic search here. So, in my experience, it's got decent AA. You get 2 Condes together. CV is going to have a rough time striking you. If you're in a Conde on another AA boat, the CV probably will think twice before doing it. Maximum speed with the speed flag equipped is 36.2 knots. She has a 900 meter turning circle radius and a rudder shift time base of 12.9 seconds. So it's a fast ship and it's maneuverable. And there's still more. Concealment with the module and skill, you get that down to 13 kilometers. 13 kilometers. A supercruiser that's bigger than some tier 8 battleships has a detection range of 13 kilometers, because of course it does. So, all that right there, not even talking about her consumables yet, makes this an absolutely fantastic ship. But now let's talk about her consumables. So, she gets, on top of the burst fire mode, Reload Booster. Because why not? So this cuts your reload time down on your main battery guns by 50%. It's active for 15 seconds, and it reloads in 76 seconds. You get 5 charges with Superintendent. Now you might be thinking, Reload Booster and Burst Fire mode, isn't that a little bit redundant? Well, if you're tired of waiting for that 50-second cooldown time once your Burst Fire goes off, you can pop your Reload Booster and get that reload down to 25 seconds, which means you get your burst fire back incredibly fast. You don't have to sit here and wait for almost a full minute. And of course, too, if you want to use it as per usual, you're going to have a 7-second reload time on your main battery guns. So yeah, the ship's just, it's so good at vomiting shells out toward the target. God, it's nuts. But there's more, of course. She does have a heal. It repairs 411 hit points per second. It's active for 28 seconds. Reloads at 76 seconds. 4 charges of those with Superintendent. And she gets engine boost because it's a French cruiser. Naturally, she has to get this. 20-second boost to your maximum speed. It's active for 180 seconds. Reloads in 85.5 seconds. 4 charges of those with Superintendent again. And like I mentioned, you have your choice of Hydro or DFAA. Hydro's out to 5 kilometers. The DFAA gives you a 50% boost to your continuous damage and a 300% boost to your flak damage. And she gets a damage column that's active for 5 seconds and reloads in 57 seconds. So, take all that, the burst mode, the reload booster, the engine boost, the maneuverability of the ship, the excellent guns on the ship, dump that all into one ship. And what you have here is a supercruiser that's incredibly agile. When you have this engine boost going, I have the propulsion mod on my Conde, by the way. This ship starts and stops on a dime. So it's kind of like old school Henry, where you can just be going 40-something knots, throw it in reverse, and then within 5 seconds you're almost at a standstill already, which of course makes it a very difficult target to hit at range. And then you have these guns on here, these 12 240mm guns with the burst fire mode that you can be chunking ships with your AP. And keep in mind too, this is still French AP, it's still 240mm AP. Even if you don't hit their broadside, you can still chunk their superstructure for an easy 15k with this burst fire mode, or any other lightly armored portion of the ship that the AP can get through and can bite into. It's insane what the ship is doing in clan battles at the moment. Then of course, like the HE, like we talked about too, it's so easy to punish people for using damage con. This ship punishes players for simply existing in the game at the moment. And what's going to be really telling about this ship is, or about Wargaming's intentions in general, that this is by far the most popular cruiser in clan battles. Essentially, you really have to take these in order to progress in clan battles, because you're going to be going up against clans that are running double Conde. And one of the best recipes to double Conde is, well, your own Condes that can at least either keep the other Condes busy, or hopefully kill the enemy ships faster than the enemy ships can kill your ships. But is Wargaming going to nerf this ship? I would hope so. It's pretty outright broken right now. And do keep in mind too, the super ships are meant to be overpowered ships that players are supposed to want to play and spend their credits playing, because in the game you're watching in the background right now, we did lose this match, and I did make profit, but it's nowhere near the profit that I would have made if I wasn't running the special signal flags and such. If you take the special signal flags off of the super cruisers and take them, or super ships, and take them into battle, you're probably going to be losing credits unless you're doing like 250k plus games, or doing things like capping 3 or more caps in a match by yourself. If you don't do crazy stuff like that, you're going to be losing credits playing these ships, or if you're playing them in clan battles, because clan battles showers you with credits if you win. So yeah, this ship is busted. I hope Wargaming nerfs it pretty soon, or at least bans it from clan battles, because they're doing the ship restrictions again this season, and if a ship proves to be too popular, it's supposed to get banned or severely limited in the season. So we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully it does, but right now, guys, if you want to play the most busted ship in the game, it's this ship. We'll see what happens to it. Again, it definitely needs a couple whacks with the nerf bat, even for being a super ship. So guys, let me know what you think about the Conde in the comments down below, in your experience with her in randoms and ranked, and well, it's not allowed in ranked right now, or in clan battles. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 40,000 subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Hope you all having a wonderful Tuesday. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.